The Travel Safe Partnership is made up of Transport for Greater Manchester Police, British Transport Police and the public transport operators of Greater Manchester. We work alongside transport staff on buses, trams, trains and bus stations across Greater Manchester to help make public transport safe. We would like to talk to you about how your behaviour and actions can impact on other people using public transport and some of the consequences of this for you and your family. One of the biggest problems we deal with is antisocial behaviour. Antisocial behaviour on the transport network has an impact on staff, customers and visitors travelling in Greater Manchester.
My name's Lucy Hutchinson. I work for Metrolink. My job role is the Customer Service and Community Liaison Manager. So we come up against a lot of antisocial behaviours on the network here at Metrolink. A lot of the things that we see is people pulling the emergency door handles, which will bring the tram to an automatic stop. We also see a lot of drinking and smoking on our platforms and on our trams. Loud music being played from smartphones, other devices, and again it's people aren't being mindful of those around them. A huge problem that we do see, which seems to be a trend, is those actually tram surfing. Now tram surfing is where an individual will be seen holding onto the outside of a tram, sometimes at the front of the tram or in between the couplings that join together the double units. Now this is very dangerous, as if you were to do that, you sat on a huge amount of volts of electricity, but also if you were to fall off, the driver doesn't know that you're there, and ultimately it could end up in a life-threatening situation because you would go underneath the tram. Other things that we see out on the network is damage to property, so smashed up shelters, ticket machines, and also graffiti on the inside and outside of our tram vehicles and on our platforms.
My name is Rob Hall. I work at Shoot Hill bus station in the centre of Manchester for TFGM. So antisocial behaviour can be in many different guises. It can make you feel very stressed, it can make you upset, it can have the effect of even being assaulted, for example. I've had a case where somebody has spat at me, which meant I had to clean myself. Obviously that was done in front of other people, so it was very upsetting, not only for me but for them. And that person was eventually charged with assault, because spitting is an assault. The effect on me personally was having to tell my friends what happened to me in work, because nobody expects to come to work and have that sort of behaviour to deal with. So it was very bad, it was upsetting, and yeah, the person at the end of it was charged, had to go to court. I had to go to court as a witness, which meant I had to relive the whole thing again. So it's quite an incident and it's very upsetting. Antisocial behaviour can often be a distraction to the job that we're actually meant to do, which is to provide information, to provide support to passengers, to make sure they're getting to the places that they want to go. Where people have been involved in antisocial behaviour, particularly younger people who have been identified, we've been able to do several things. One is to ban them from the property for a 12-month period. That means that they can't catch the bus here, they can't use it for school or for work in some cases. We've also been able to take their iGo pass from them or their Our Pass from them as well.
Another issue for the transport operators is damage to property. This is because it costs a lot of money to put things right again. When a bus or tram is damaged, it has to return to the depot to be repaired. This means that passengers are left waiting for a bus or tram that will not be turning up that day. This is inconvenient for passengers who need to use the service and costs the transport operators a significant amount of money to put right. Money spent to clean graffiti, replace windows that are broken, bins that are set on fire, and seats that are ripped could have been spent on other things like Wi-Fi and charging points. The cost of replacing bus and tram windows and repairing other damage may even cause the company to put their fares up, and then all of our journeys to school and work will cost more. Incidents are always reported to the police, and you could get a criminal record if you deliberately damage any part of the transport network.
Hi, my name's Paul Murphy. I'm a bus driver for Stagecoach in Sharston, Manchester. Been a bus driver for 8 years now, mainly on school buses. Most kids are good and, they thank you for everything they do and they do appreciate you being there. Afternoon is slightly different because they've pent up in school all day. It's just one of those things, kids will be kids.
My name's Catherine. I've been at Stagecoach 13 years now. I love this job. Coming from the background of being in the army, I was quite disciplined. Don't get me wrong, it's like any job, these days where, what's going to happen today? But I look forward to coming here because I like speaking to people, I like being around people. If it's one thing that drivers fear the most is a brick coming through the window while we're at work, because it could have serious consequences.
Like if you're driving along and you get a brick thrown at you and they put a window through, then you've got the worry, the stress of dealing with the passengers if anyone's injured.
But they tend to hit the side of the buses, and it always tends to be in the disabled area. And there's a lot of people that will sit in there, your children, you're disabled, you're vulnerable.
Having a brick thrown at your bus, is very stressful for the passengers because they're just sat there and enjoying the journey, looking at the phone or reading the paper, and they don't expect that, and all of a sudden bang, and the window's in. Every passenger's going to be affected by it. It's not just the passengers, it's the driver as well.
Being here, I've heard of drivers being really traumatised from bricks being thrown through the window. We're not just driving that bus, we're in charge of every single person that gets onto our vehicle. Well, it tends to be teenagers that are causing the antisocial behaviour side of it. They don't think about the consequences of what could happen if they were to be caught.
Transport staff are also victims of antisocial and criminal behaviour. You might think that an incident is small or unimportant to start with, but antisocial behaviour can go on for a long time and become serious. Antisocial behaviour affects people in many ways and can often make those who are affected feel anxious, frightened and intimidated. Antisocial behaviour on the public transport network affects both transport staff and customers. If you are 10 years old or over and are involved in antisocial behaviour or crime, you may be spoken to by the police and have to make amends for the issues you have caused in the local area by giving something back. For example, cleaning up the damage you have done or listening to the effects of your behaviour on others. Those who continue to behave in an antisocial or criminal way could end up having action taken against them and have to appear in court. We want you to think about how you behave in public and how antisocial behaviour could affect other people by making them feel intimidated and unable to use public transport.
My name is Steve Griffin and I am the Inspector for the Greater Manchester Police Transport Unit. Our main priority is to reduce criminality and antisocial behaviour across the transport network of Greater Manchester. Antisocial behaviour affects both transport staff and passengers and is not acceptable. Antisocial behaviour can be verbal abuse, threatening behaviour, fighting and bus or tram surfing. These actions can put people off using public transport. If you were 10 years or older and you were involved in crime or antisocial behaviour, this may lead to the police becoming involved. We do not want you to become involved in the criminal justice system. If you do, this could have consequences for you in later life in relation to what jobs you can do and sometimes which countries you can travel to. All I ask is that you think about how your behaviour in public affects other people. This could be your friends, this could be your family.
CCTV and body-worn cameras are in use 24 hours a day across the Greater Manchester Transport Network to prevent crime and antisocial behaviour. Buses and Metrolink trams are also fitted with CCTV cameras which record images from both inside and outside of the vehicle. Footage of antisocial and criminal behaviour is shared with the police and can be used as evidence in civil and criminal action against those who are involved. TFGM and Metrolink each have a control room where staff monitor CCTV throughout the day and report antisocial and criminal behaviour to the police. Bus stations are covered by a network of CCTV cameras which are in use 24 hours a day. Bus station staff also wear body-worn cameras which record both sound and images. CCTV and body cam footage can also be used as evidence in civil and criminal action against those who are involved in crime and antisocial behaviour.